Instagram. Happy Monday. Today we are going to be moving through some of my favorite morning moves. So it's a little bit of everything, usually in the morning, and just kind of see how I feel, but usually involves a lot of hips and spine and a little bit of upper body as well as a little bit of core. So a little bit of everything is sort of how I'm feeling. Good morning. And I'm going to invite you to just kind of see how you're feeling this morning as well. And just let your practice be what you need it to be. Maybe you have the window open and you're listening to the sound of the rain. Maybe you want to put on some music. Maybe you want it to be a little bit more quiet. So just take a few moments to get yourself set up, grabbing whatever props you might need, and we will meet in a comfortable seat on the mat in just a moment. Maybe you want your coffee as well. Just making your way to any comfortable seat that feels good for you. You might sit on a block or a pillow. You might have a blanket close by if you're feeling a little bit chilly. And then when you're ready, just go ahead and close your eyes if that feels good. Or find just somewhere to focus your gaze. Resting your hands wherever you'd like, on the legs, palms facing up or down. And I usually like to begin my morning movement just by breathing in stillness. And just starting to check in and gently scan the body to see where the areas of tension lie. Where there's a little bit of extra stiffness. What areas might be a little bit more open. And start by just breathing into those spaces. For me, it's usually the neck and shoulders that are feeling a little extra stiff, especially in the morning. So if that's the case for you, you might focus on dropping the shoulders a little bit more, on softening the jaw. And then after a couple more breaths into those spaces that are a little bit extra tight, start to bring a bit of movement into those spaces. So if it's the neck and the shoulders, you might start to roll the head gently around, gently stretching out the neck and the upper back. And you might take some gentle shoulder rolls. If it's another area of the body, like the spine, you might start to move through a bit of seated cat-cow. If it's the hips, you might shift your upper body forward. Really just allow this to be beneficial and serving for you. Starting to bring gentle movement into the areas of the body that need it. And with the eyes closed, you might be able to better attune into what your needs are rather than what I'm doing, what my body's asking for. The movement can be as big or as small as you need or want it to be. Taking a few more moments to just work out those first few kinks. And then we'll meet back in a tall seat. You can open the eyes if you'd like, or you can keep them closed. Let's take a deep inhale, reach your arms up towards the sky. And as you exhale, take a little bend in the elbows as you let your arms float down, keeping the chest lifted. take a couple more like that. Inhale, reach the arms up, lengthen through both sides of the waist. And as you exhale, keep the chest lifted, little bend in the elbows as the arms float down. Take one more like that, allowing your body to lengthen, to start to open up. And then this time we'll inhale, reach the arms overhead. And as you exhale, take a little side bend over to the right. Just staying with a bit of gentle movement, we'll sway side to side. So inhale, reach tall. Exhale, other side. And just moving at your own pace with your own breath. If it feels good, the elbows might have a big bend to them. Finding some softness as you feel the length down both sides of the body. And you can stay with movement, or if it feels right to you, you could pause over on one side, maybe on the right side if you're moving with me, to take a few big breaths down the left side of the body. Maybe letting the head be heavy, gazing towards the floor. Or if you're feeling you'd like a little bit more energy, you can gaze up and roll the left shoulder back, open up the chest. Feel the left hip reach towards the mat. On your next inhale, reach up tall through center, and then we'll take a twist over to the left. Left hand behind you, right hand somewhere on the left leg. Shoulders heavy, spine long. Breath full and smooth. Over the next couple breaths, begin to unwind. If you're sitting cross-legged, we will switch the cross of the legs. Now's a good time if you have water, coffee, tea, and you want a little sip in this transition, go ahead. And just giving yourself what you need. Maybe that is caffeine, maybe that is hydration. And then we'll start to take some of that movement again with the legs crossed the opposite way. So whether it is some seated cat-cow, some gentle neck rolls, some shoulder rolls. Again, you can close the eyes to better tune in to what it is that you need right now. Maybe it's a fold over the legs, rounding the spine, swaying side to side. Wherever the body is asking for more space, more attention, allow yourself to tune into those needs and to make it feel good for you. Together we'll meet seated tall, eyes open or closed. Take a deep inhale, reach your arms up. And as you exhale, the elbows bend, maybe make the movement a little bigger by puffing up the chest, arms float down. And again, inhale, reach the arms up, grow nice and tall. Exhale, big bend in the elbows, keep the chest lifted, arms float down. One more time. On your next inhale, arms reach up. And then start to take those swing side bends, opposite side this time, over to the left. And gently swaying with breath. Feeling the body open up. Feeling it respond to the movement that you're giving it. Noticing how this can set the tone for your day, for your week. If it feels right, pause over on the opposite side. If you were with me on the right, come over to the left. Again, the head might be heavy, gazing down. And you might want a little bit more opening, rolling the right shoulder back, gazing up. Gentle pressure with the left hand onto the floor to help ground the right hip a little bit more and feel a little bit more space down the right side. On your next breath in, sit up nice and tall, big reach. And as you breathe out, take a twist over to the right side. Right hand behind you for support. Left hand somewhere onto the right leg. Big breaths up and down the spine. Keeping the neck long, the shoulders heavy. And when you're ready, start to unwind. We're going to make our way into a tabletop position. Again, if you need a sip of water, tea or coffee along the way, now is a wonderful time to take it. Meeting in a tabletop position, all fours, taking a moment to spread the fingers wide, to press them into the mat, and then start to take a bit of movement here. Again, maybe that is cat-cow for you today. Inhaling to lift the chest, exhaling to round the spine. Maybe that is a bit of a tail wag, swaying the hips side to side, gazing over the shoulder, lengthening the side body. Maybe it's a combination of both, whether that be some barrel rolls, or maybe shifting forward and back. Usually my morning practice doesn't really have a plan. And just do what feels good, what my body needs. Tuning into where the sensation is. Allowing yourself to feel, to breathe deeply. And then starting to tuck the toes under. We'll crawl the knees together, the feet together. And you can send some weight back towards your heels, maybe pausing here to feel the stretch through the soles of the feet, through the toes. You can let the head hang heavy. Stay here if you'd like, or start to crawl the hands closer towards the knees as you sit onto the heels, coming into this little toe squat. Enjoying the stretch through the soles of the feet, sitting up tall. Maybe taking big shoulder rolls or enjoying stillness. Now is a good time though if you'd like to warm up the wrists a little bit. You can make fists with the hands and just begin to roll the wrists around, warming up the joints, switching directions. Maybe spreading the fingers wide and pulling the fingers back in, warming up all the little fingers. And then as you're ready, start to walk your hands back underneath of your shoulders, gently untuck the toes, take gentle taps with the feet onto the mat. Feeling the blood flow back through the ankles, all the way through the toes. Let's bring the tops of the feet to the mat, sit hips onto the heels, and start to lean back, gentle lift of the knees. You can do both at the same time or one at a time, if that is too intense. Stretching out the tops of the ankles and the feet. Giving this nice stretch across the shins, the ankles. And then we'll bring the knees back down, slide your hands forward, and make your way into a downward facing dog. Maybe it's your first downward facing dog of the day, maybe not. Either way, bring as much or as little movement as you want to or need to into this shape. And the movement can help you really tune in to feel what the body needs, how the body is doing. Noticing what areas of the body are tight. Maybe noting what you did either earlier this morning or yesterday and how that affects the body. Neither good nor bad, just noticing. And from your downward dog, you might enjoy some shifts forward to plank, feeling the core catch you as the shoulders land above the wrists. And you might make this a bit of a spinal wave, rounding as you come forward to plank, sending the hips up and back as you float back into your dog. Again, the choice is yours to move how you'd like to move, to give your body what it needs. Next time we meet in downward facing dog, start to walk the feet nice and wide, about as wide as the mat, heels slightly in, toes out. Take a moment, you can bend the knees as much as you need to, press the hips up high, feel the weight come out of the wrists, a little bit more into the hips and the legs, and start to walk your hands towards your feet. Begin to make your way into a squat, gently dropping the hips down. If you'd like to sway a little bit in your squat, you definitely can. Shifting weight from one side to the other, getting into the hips, such a wonderful place to warm up the body, getting into the low back, creating a little bit more space there. You could play with bringing hands to heart or reaching the arms forward, maybe enjoying stillness or movement, whatever it is that you'd like. Again, maybe the eyes close and you don't worry so much about what I'm doing or what you look like. And just focusing on you, your body, your breath, what it is that you need. In your own time, start to bring your hands down, make your way back into a forward fold, lifting the hips high, heel toeing the feet to about hip width apart. And then we'll plant the left hand down underneath of the face. Inhale to reach the right arm up for a little twist. Exhale, bring it on down. Inhale, sweep the left arm up. And exhale, bring it down. Take one more each side. Just with the breath. Once you've finished off that left side, make your way into a fold and start to roll up the spine. One vertebrae at a time. Reaching the arms overhead, rise up onto your tippy toes, stand nice and tall. And then as you exhale, softly lower the heels, fold back down. From this forward fold, drop your knees down onto the mat, untuck the toes. We'll walk the right hand behind us, somewhere towards the back corner of the mat, and sweep the left arm up and back, chest lifts. As you exhale, sweep the left arm forward and all the way behind you. Coming into gentle back bends, lengthening through both sides of the body. If you'd like, you can lift the hips up higher off of the heels for a little more intensity. But if that does not feel right, if the floor feels too far away, you can keep the hips down onto the mat. Giving yourself one more each side, maybe two more depending on the pace that you're moving at. Evening it out on the left. And then we'll meet back, seated on heels. Draw the knees and the feet together. Bring the hands beside the knees so the fingers are in line with the knees. Spread the fingers nice and wide. Really grip the mat firmly. Think about rounding the upper back here. Spreading the shoulder blades wide, lifting belly button towards the spine. And then start to press into the tops of your feet. See if you can gently lift the knees off the mat and lower down. A couple more. Press into the fingers, into the tops of the feet as you hover the knees off the mat. And gently lower. Starting to warm up the core. Pulling belly button to spine, ribs squeezing towards hips. Squeeze the inner thighs together. Building a little bit of heat. This time, let's see if we can lift the knees and then curl the toes around so that you can make your way into a forward fold. From this forward fold, take a breath in, lengthen the spine halfway. Exhale to fold. Inhale to rise all the way back up, bring your palms to touch. Exhale, come back into your fold all the way over the legs. Let's start to curl the hands out into downward facing dog. Feet separate, hip width, hands shoulder width. Again, movement if you'd like here, pedaling at the feet, or maybe a few shifts from dog to plank. Maybe making a waving motion with the spine. Feeling with each breath, with each movement, how it gets a little more spacious. When you're ready, let's take the right leg up. You can open the hip here if you'd like. You can roll at the ankle, wiggle the toes. You can work on squaring off the hips. Whatever it is that is going to feel best and serve you in this moment. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, take right knee to right elbow, gentle tap. Inhale, kick it back nice and long. Exhale, pull your knee in towards your nose, and then softly step it through. Give it some help if it needs it into a low lunge. The left knee drops down. Press down into the feet. You can keep the back toes tucked or untuck them if you choose. And then you can shift a little bit forward and back here. You can pause in stillness. Again, tuning into you and your needs. When you're ready, if you're moving, come into stillness. Walk your hands onto your right thigh. Press firmly down into the feet. Lengthen the spine. Stay here if you'd like with a little bit of pressure. Hands pressing onto the thigh. Or sweep your arms behind you. Fingers interlaced. Gentle squeeze of the palms. Little lift of the chest. If this back bend feels good, stay here. If you'd like, you can bring your hands over towards the right hip and drop right ear to right shoulder if that neck and shoulder needs a little bit more attention. Hugging the elbows in, dropping the shoulders away from the ears. Taking big breaths. And if the hands are over towards the right hip, you can gently bring them back down. Hands frame the foot. We'll keep the left hand planted, reach the right arm up for a little twist. Roll the top right shoulder back as you press the hips forward and down. And start to sweep that right hand back down onto the mat. Lift the back knee, crawl forward, little lift of the left leg, and then step it up into a forward fold. Let's take a breath and lengthen the spine halfway. Exhale, let it go, fold. Inhale, stand all the way up, bring your palms to touch. We're coming all the way back down, upper body melts over the legs. Halfway lift, spine is long, hands slide up the thighs or the shins. Fold, plant the hands, spread the fingers wide. You can either step right back into downward dog or move through any movements, a flow, whatever you would like to get there. And then again, in your downward facing dog, you could take movement or stillness. Feel the fingertips spread wide and press down into the mat. Let's lift the left leg up this time. Circle the ankle if you'd like. Open the hip if you'd like. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, left knee to left elbow, little tap. Inhale, kick back. Exhale, knee to nose, push the floor away and step it through. Right knee drops down. Back into your low lunge, right toes either tucked or untucked. Little bit of movement if you'd like, shifting forward and back. Getting into the places that your body needs it. Knowing that there is no right or wrong. When you're ready, you can come into stillness. If you're not already there, hands walk up onto the left thigh. Press hands into the thigh as you lift the chest. Stay here if you'd like, or bring the arms behind you. Hands clasp the opposite way, the way that feels funny. You can stay in a back bend as you draw the shoulder blades together, reaching the knuckles down, or take a bend in the elbows. Slide your hands over towards your left hip and drop left ear to left shoulder. One of my favorite stretches for the neck, the shoulder, but also getting into the hips, feeling that length through the right side, making sure to hug the inner thighs together, little lift of the low belly to feel supported, stable. And then we'll bring the head back up, hands come down, right hand plants under right shoulder, left arm sweeps up for a little twist. Opening the chest, reaching the center of your chest forward. And then we'll bring that left hand down, start to crawl the hands forward, lift the right knee. Find a bit of balance here as you lift the right leg up. And then step the right foot up, forward fold. Breathe in, lengthen the spine. Breathe out, fold. And on your next inhale, rise all the way back up. And then fold back down over the legs. Moving with the breath, big and full and smooth. You can move through a flow if you'd like. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Take any way you'd like to get there. Reminding yourself that there are no rules, as long as you're moving in the way that your body needs to. When you're in your dog, let's lift the right leg up again. If you want to bend the knee, go ahead, open up the hip. Maybe gaze under the right shoulder, or work on squaring the shoulders. Maybe circling that right knee around. And take a big breath in, right leg long. As you breathe out, come forward to plank, right knee, right elbow. You can stay in plank or you can push back into three-legged dog as you extend the right leg. As you exhale, take the knee over to the left elbow. One more time, kick it back. Either stay in your plank or make your way into dog. Pull the knee in, actually back to the right elbow. We'll take a wide lunge here, dropping the left knee down. So the right foot is out nice and wide. Toes are turned out a little bit, heel in. Making sure you're being mindful of that left knee. You can stay here, reaching hips forward and down. You can play with rolling to the edge of the right foot, seeing how that feels for the hip. You can bend the left knee if you'd like. Maybe gaze back. Find those toes. Maybe find them with your right hand. And the options are endless and the choice is always yours. Maybe you find a little bit more strength by hugging the inner thighs together, pressing foot into hand. If you've got that foot, gently release it. We'll take the right hand down under the shoulder, lift the back knee. Hug the inner thighs as you pull your right knee to your right shoulder, squeeze your heel to your glute. The left knee can come down at any point here. See if you can lower that right knee to a hover or drop it to the mat behind your wrist and squeeze it back up. Couple more. Lower that knee either to a hover or to the mat. Squeeze it back up. This time lower, we'll come into pigeon. Lowering the hips down, right heel in front of the left hip, left leg long behind you. A little wiggle around if you'd like. And again, you can stay upright. You can have a sip of coffee here. You can use props if you need to underneath of your hips. You might want to bend the back knee, see if you can grab the foot, or you might like to fold down. Taking a couple big breaths. Wherever you are, whatever version of pigeon is calling to you. And slowly lift the head if you've lowered. Shift the weight over towards your right hip. Swing that left leg all the way around. Press into the sole of the left foot. Crawl forward as you lift your right leg up, coming through a little half moon. A little bit of balance here. Strong through both legs. Right hand can be on the right hip. Think about stacking hips and shoulders as you press through the right heel. Maybe playing with lifting the left fingertips or sliding them up the left leg. Seeing how it goes, not being attached to what it looks like. Woo. When you're ready, we'll make our way into a fold at the top, hanging heavy over the legs. Lengthen as you inhale. Fold as you exhale. Rise up, stand tall. Maybe you'd like to lift the heels, reach high. And as you exhale, fold over the legs, heels drop softly down. We'll move through the other side, take a halfway lift, and fold. Making your way into your dog. Flow if you'd like to flow, or step back. Any way that gets you there. From your downward facing dog, we'll carry the left leg up. Bend the knee if you'd like, open up the hip. And then again, play with maybe gazing under left shoulder. Just seeing how things feel, maybe circling left knee. Exploring your body and how it feels right now. On your next inhale, left leg long. As you exhale, left knee taps a left elbow. Either stay in your plank or kick back to three-legged dog as you lengthen left leg. As you exhale, take your knee over to the right elbow. One more time, you can either stay in your plank or in your dog. As you take your knee back to the left and step it wide. Heel in, toes out, right knee drops down. And play with a bit of movement here if you'd like. With stillness, with seeing how you feel on this side. You might roll to the edge of the left foot. And you might take a little twist. You might bend the back knee, say hello to those right toes. You might grab them. You might play with strength. Hugging inner thighs, lifting chest, Rooting into the right fingertips. See what it is the body is asking for. Lower that right foot. If it was lifted, left hand comes down, right toes tuck under, lift the right knee. Take a moment to plant into each fingertips as you pull your left knee to your left elbow. See if you can lower it down to a hover or to the mat. Right knee can come down if it needs to. Pull it back up and lower. This time we pull up, lower it down, we come into pigeon. Whatever pigeon you would like. Upright, knee bent, reaching for the foot, finding a lift in the chest, hugging the inner thighs, lifting the low belly, or maybe folding down. Everybody is different and we are different from day to day. Our needs change, our bodies change. But this practice is always something that we can adapt to those needs. So my favorite morning moves, one day will be different than another day. They will be different than yours, and that is totally okay. And with all our differences, we can still meet each other on the mat. We can still get the benefits of this practice. If you've lowered, begin to lift the upper body, shift weight over to the left, right foot swings all the way around. Plant into that right foot as you make your way into half moon, right hand to the floor or a block. Left leg lifts, left hand can land on that left hip. Roll top shoulder and hip back. Strong through both legs. Don't be afraid to play around a little bit. Hovering that right hand, maybe bringing it onto the thigh. Lengthening the spine, maybe reaching left arm up. Seeing what happens when you're not so attached to what it looks like, but what it feels like and what it can offer you. Let's slowly meet in a forward fold. Left foot comes down. Take a little sway if you'd like. Shake it out. And let's begin to roll up the spine. One last time, if you'd like to lift the heels, rise onto the tippy toes, grow so tall. And then we'll start to fold down. Once you're folded, lift the heels. Gently lower the hips down. We'll make our way onto our backs. Just like that, already half an hour has gone by. But hopefully you feel so different, so good. You can sway your knees from side to side. It might feel nice for you to finish off with a twist, dropping your knees over to one side. It might feel nice for you to take happy baby. You get to choose how you want to finish off this practice. You get to choose when you're ready to switch sides if you're twisting. Whatever it is that the body is asking for, that you need. And you get to choose when you're ready to settle into your final shape. Whatever that is for you. Could be seated, could be legs long, could be anything really. Take a few moments, wherever you land, to be there, to be you. And maybe making a little promise to yourself, a little commitment to yourself, to tune into your needs, to give yourself what you need. Not just on the mat, but also off of it. I thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you feel good and connected to yourself. And I hope we can move together again sometime soon. Have a wonderful day.